Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me as always,
Erik Icarus.
Eric,
what's up?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast. You can follow the shop at REC Comics, and you could follow the bomb dude.
Eric J. Wilden _ Esquire.
Nice. Oh, man, we had a nice little surprise before we were recording today. A friend of the show, Jeff, came by, said what's up, got us going, got the blood flowing.
Yeah.
And it was good to see him. It was good to see him.
Oh, yeah, I missed that guy. I hadn't seen him in a couple years.
Dude, it's been a while.
Longer, been a while.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when we get an unexpected visitor that we like.
I missed my day drinking buddy.
Yeah, dude, that was your day drinking buddy back in the day.
It was.
In a lifetime ago, it feels.
Yeah. As a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Killing it. Thriving and surviving. I love it. Yeah, it's good to see him like that.
That's what's up. Yeah. All he had to do was move away from you so he didn't drink in the daytime. Oh, man. Well, we've had some interesting comic book news this week, and we're going to start off, as we've been following Disney Plus's Moon Knight. Episode 3 came out, and I'm going to start this off with, this was my favorite episode of the season so far.
Episode Musketeers was your favorite.
Yes, this was my favorite episode. There wasn't a whole lot in terms of Easter eggs, but there were a couple. But this is where they've been saving that budget, man.
Yep.
I will
give you that.
There were some amazing scenes that we will get to. But first off, this episode was dedicated to Gaspard Ulliel. I'm not sure if that's how you say his last name. He was the actor who played the kind of arms dealer in there, Anton Mogart. He had passed away, I believe, last year in a skiing accident, which, condolences to the family. That sucks so bad. However, he was also playing Anton Mogart, who was actually the Midnight Man in comics.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see if they bring that character back. He was I believe his debut was in Moon Knight Volume 1, Issue 3. We sold one recently in our Whatnot sale. Check us out on Whatnot at REC Comics. But I thought it was really cool. Yeah. This is his episode. They dedicated it to him. He had a nice role.
Yeah.
It sucks because you could really see, oh man, I'd like to see this guy some more.
Me too, yeah.
And I mean, handsome as all get out too. So, easy on the eyes, and could have, really brought something to the rest of the show. He's kind of this arms dealer that they have to talk, not an arms dealer, but like an antiques collector.
He's kind of like the collector.
Yes.
He doesn't steal stuff for profit. He just steals it to have it.
Yeah, he's going to keep it. He's going to preserve it, but like just so he can see it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like this guy.
Yes. That is how I live my comic book collection. It's not for your eyes. It's for my eyes.
Yeah, he doesn't sell anything here.
No. Yeah, this is for looking. You guys think you can come to the shop and buy anything? It's ridiculous. But I thought that was really sweet that they, because I honestly, I'm not familiar with the actor, so I'd forgotten about that tragic thing that happened. And I was like, oh yeah, that was the guy who passed away. So very cool of Marvel to do that. One of the big Easter eggs, and probably the one that was right out there, was Mark's wife making the comment about Madripoor.
Yes.
Knowing Anton from Madripoor. Right. Some dealing that went down, that went south. So good. Another MCU reference, especially a Wolverine-style reference. Great to have. The introduction of possibly a third identity.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's the cabbie.
Go for it.
I forgot his name, though, already.
Jake Lockley.
Thank you. I don't know why I forgot that. Yeah, if they don't do this, because they've definitely implied there's 3 in him. So they got to do this. Yeah. If they don't, I'm going to be shocked. But if they don't, Marvel, they do have clever ways of getting around things or doing something different. But I don't see why they wouldn't do this. Come on. Yeah. Come on. What do you think? We've
been waiting for the emergence of another identity. And because right now we just have the Mr. Knight suit. We don't really have the Mr. Knight persona. Right. Per se, which is more of a detective. So having, there was a scene in here where Mark kind of blacks out, comes to, and these guys are beaten and killed pretty much.
Yeah.
And Mark's like, Steven, like, what did you do? And he's like, I didn't do this. And Mark's like, well, I didn't do it. And then it's kind of like, we kind of jump to the next thing.
Right.
So it's definitely planting something else. So there's even a more brutal version, because we've even seen Mark pull punches like a younger guy.
Yeah, of course.
So while he is in the know about fighting, if he doesn't have to, he's not going to kill you.
Right.
So who is this other person? I mean, Jake's not super brutal.
No.
So
true.
Is it going to be something else entirely? Or is this going to be the Mr. Knight persona?
Ooh.
Like, I'm not sure. Lots of things. I really enjoyed this episode. This was my favorite of the 3. Where does it sit with you?
I'm starting to not like the show as much. I'm starting, no pun intended, starting to wane on this a little bit, bro. Like,
nice.
Mr. Knight is killing the show for me, man. And not in a good way.
Yeah.
It is that Deadpool reference, and he is, and it was so obvious in this. Man. Like, Mr. Knight is not that manic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a detective.
Yes.
You know, he'll crack wise here and there, but he's not full on. Being a clown.
It's a weird thing to have Stevie manifest that costume since he's not really sure why he looks that way. Then.
Right.
Yeah. So it is interesting. It does show you how flimsy the barriers are between the personalities.
But I don't want a Cockney Deadpool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like a wuss. Stevie's kind of a wuss. So
kind of is, yeah. And Mr. Knight is not.
No. He's very more. He's far more.
He's kind of like Rorschach in a weird way.
Yeah, more Rorschach than Deadpool. That's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This episode had a few really amazing scenes. As I referenced earlier, there's an excellent scene. They're trying to find this tomb of Amuet. I can't remember how you say your name.
Close.
And they know what the star constellations were, but they need to know what the star constellations were 2,000 years ago when she was buried. And this is an amazingly beautiful scene where Khonshu violates his parameters as a god and literally turns the sky back. And it's just a beautiful scene. We're seeing the stars kind of drag. It's very beautiful. And he's putting the stars where they were 2,000 years ago.
Or does he turn back time?
I don't think. You think?
I think he might have shifted time. You can't move the stars like
that.
But stars are in proportion to the Earth because of time.
Yeah,
they move.
Yeah, and that's an interesting idea. However,
because what is
other people are seeing it happen.
Sure, but that's where the implication comes in. Like, do you think he may have maybe moved us back 2,000 years? This little.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, this just
it's interesting to think about.
This just raises more questions.
It does, because like, what was he exactly doing?
Yeah,
and what's he affecting? Because he's technically, it would be really. I mean, he's crazy powerful. If he's affecting the universe.
Right. That is like Thanos with a gauntlet power.
It raises questions. However, they've got me with the look of it. It looked great.
It beautiful.
Because you really saw it, because he's doing the power through Steven.
Yes.
And, so Steven's kind of pantomiming this move to turn the stars back, and you see Khonshu there doing it as well. Looked fantastic.
Speaking of which, Khonshu just looks...
He's still...
God.
Some of the best work they've done is
awesome.
Khonshu.
Yeah. Ethan Hawke killing it still. Mm-hmm. Very much so. I very, very impressed with him.
Yes.
I want to know where this is going to go with him, especially because he's turning into one of my favorite villains. He's the reason I'm going to keep watching.
Wow. See, this was a turning point in a positive direction for me. Arguably, while that scene was the most beautiful looking, my favorite scene in the show was the other gods' avatars being called together to kind of judge Arthur Harrow, Ethan Hart's character. Khonshu requests a visit with the other gods, because at this point Khonshu's kind of on the out with the gods, and he creates an eclipse to get their attention, and it's really cool because we're seeing like modern day like businessmen and women, other people from around the world, and their eyes kind of light up, and they are avatars for Osiris and all of these other people.
I think it's cool because they exist in this little pocket universe because people stop worshiping them.
Yeah.
So that they still exist. They're just not
as powerful
themselves
and observing.
Yeah,
like, there you go. Like I think it's Osiris. I'm not exactly sure who they say it is, but kind of the head of these deities is like, hey, like, we record, we are not to interfere, we're not to meddle. And it's cool because Khonshu is then speaking through his avatar. Yeah. Everybody in this room is avatars for them. So it was really a cool way to show that.
It was a good way to do it, sure.
It was weird, like, how much Khonshu is just, like, overbearing.
Right.
As, because, like, the other ones are talking normal, and Khonshu's like, I accuse, you know, and it's like everybody else is cool. Why are you freaking out?
He's like the L. Ron Hubbard of all of them.
And they say, hey, if you manipulate the sky again, like we're gonna encase you in stone. And spoilers, kids, he does that with the stars, and it was cool. What bothered me about the episode was this is the first episode that really got me. I was like, oh, this is really awesome, and I'm super hooked. It's because we got a lot of power stuff, and with Khonshu being imprisoned in stone, it's just going to be Mark.
Yeah.
It's just going to be...
Yeah, they set that up already. Yeah.
And I get it.
Well, you know what Khonshu's superhero name should be, right? Star-Lord. Come on.
This guy. What are you guys going to do with him? What are you guys going to do with him when I'm gone?
That's your boy.
Right? Yeah, talk to your boy, Chris. All right? Talk to your boy. But I really enjoyed the star scene, this idea of this council of gods.
Right.
I do think we're lending a little bit more credence to my God Slayer theory.
Dude, it's got to be.
I mean, it could be.
Be.
I think it's wild, but it would be really cool if at least there is I said, it would be really cool if they accidentally release Gore instead of why
because
he
it
would
makes
be.
Too much sense. The release dates are so close. I mean, everything's kind of tying into each other, man.
Could be. We'll see.
Gore's got some, in the comics. He's got some,
thirst for the gods.
Right.
He's a god butcher. So, but I thought it was a solid episode. I'm excited for more, but we only got 3 more left, Eric. Only 3 more.
Only 3. Only amigos left.
Yeah. In the comic book world, actually, we're going to go to the comic book movie world with DC Warner Brothers being purchased for the 3rd time in about 6 years. Okay? Discovery Entertainment, I believe, is what they go under. Discovery, Discovery Channel and everything. They have purchased Warner Brothers and DC and all their subsidiaries for $43 billion in cash and assumed debts. So I don't know exactly how much they're going to get, and it's wild. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. How DC Warner is being passed around at the party.
Yes,
it's disgusting.
Yes. They're the new skinny white guy in prison.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's bad. And with this, we've just had a successful. You can argue that with the last buyer, which who was it that had him last?
AT&T.
Oh yes, thank you. Good job. And they had some success with HBO Max.
Sure.
The Suicide Squad, while commercially somewhat panned, was critically received well.
Right.
James Gunn's Peacemaker, excellent show. So there were a lot of positive things that happened in this very short.
Positive I think doesn't actually equal money.
Exactly.
Is the thing.
So Discovery has bought this. The new CEO is a guy named David Zaslav, I believe is how you say his name.
Okay, and he's not a supervillain?
He is not. I mean, he's probably going to be. And the reason that this is important is because the more things change, the more they say the same. The thing that we're always talking about with Warner Brothers is that they're always changing the people at the top, which is why they can't get any
That's
continuity.
Why there's no continuity, no consistency.
Yes. So we have this guy who says he really wants to focus on the film division, and he would like to have, he basically said without saying that he would like to have a Feige-esque person in there, has interviewed multiple candidates, but has
Even
shifted.
Kevin Feige.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Could you imagine? That'd be the craziest thing. That'd be Babe Ruth signing with the Yankees. It would just be an insane.
Well, that would break the universe. That would move the stars if that happened.
Yeah. You'd have to, they'd have to encase somebody in stone, as far as I'm concerned.
Because, think about it. Never say ever, because it could happen.
It could.
Money talks, man.
Yeah. If we're 10 more years into the Marvel MCU world, and it's just like coasting, it's doing its, Kevin Feige could leave and be like, I can do this again.
Yeah. Oh.
That would be crazy. That'd be Tom Brady leaving the Patriots and going to the Bucks and winning Super Bowl. It'd be amazing.
It's like Gary Sharon leaving Extreme and going to... No, never mind. That doesn't work.
It doesn't. Because Gary Sharon, again, he cleans the toilets here, okay? But what's interesting is that several candidates had been interviewed apparently, and the new CEO says, really, if I can find somebody, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, if they can find somebody that can just keep things corralled.
Sure.
Like, which I think is a step in the right direction, but if they can get somebody who is like a Feige, because Zaslav said he wants more accountability.
See, it even sounds like a super villain.
Zaslav. Son of he wanted more accountability because these kind of other DC heads had, okay, this person's in charge of this, this person's in charge of this, so this new CEO wants more accountability, so at least somebody will have to pay for the things that are done incorrectly.
You know who you should get? Ezra Miller.
Oh, God.
The guy's got a good head on his shoulders.
I mean, this might be a case where it's like, okay, we can deviate from all of these things. Even though Aquaman has a fan base, Gal Gadot has a fan base, this Batman thing, okay, whatever.
It's doing okay.
But maybe we're just going to go.
Maybe we just wipe the slate clean, release these movies, make some money, and then it's done. Give it 2 years and go.
A contextual quote was that all current DC products or properties are in flux. That was what was said. So nothing is set in stone.
So there's a real world where they don't release some of these movies.
I can't imagine that would happen, but where maybe they add some things to sever these things. You could do Crisis on Infinite Earths and just sever these lines and start new.
I think that's what they're gonna do.
It could be really wild, and then
what they're gonna do.
And you just show George Clooney, you show everybody who's been a Batman
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
No Way Home, this thing, and we're just seeing those realities being consumed.
By the Langoliers,
by the what's his name, the Anti-Monitor, and and we just start like that. I mean, you could have a reason for such a thing to happen,
right?
Something that's been being kicked around the internet.
Oh, here we go.
What about James Gunn?
He would be one of my first people to do this.
James Gunn to come in there, and he's had 2 successful launches as far as the fans are concerned with The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
Yeah.
He's obviously one of those figureheads at Marvel. His contract is supposedly up after Guardians 3.
Yep.
Does this free him up to be a Feige type role?
Sure.
I mean, dude.
I don't know if he's got the experience.
I don't know. I don't know either. I mean, so he would have a lot. It would be a lot to make or break him.
Sure. I'm trying to think right offhand who could even possibly do this. I'm thinking somebody not even in the film industry. You get somebody who was in the comic book industry. Or do you think it's a whole different beast?
I think it is a whole different beast, but I think they've got to have somebody like a Feige, like a James Gunn, who has great reverence for the properties and likes to build a story, likes to build a universe.
Yes,
yeah,
not franchise killers.
Not franchise killers. Could be interesting.
There might have been a time, if these Justice League movies were good, that Zack Snyder could have been the guy.
Totally.
Could have been the guy.
And I'm sorry, guys, I don't think we saw enough in the Snyder Cut to say, bring him back. Let's just keep it going. No, I don't think
it was cool. The little thing, there were a few things I'm like, that was cool. But
there was a lot of really awesome stuff.
It's not worth get them all back.
It's not.
Renew some contracts, spend millions of dollars.
They need to sever their ties with Ezra Miller. I don't know. I still haven't seen the Batman yet, so
good.
I'm going to watch it this week because it comes out on streaming on the 18th. So I will hopefully by our next show have seen it. We could chat about it a bit.
Sure.
But in all of this, DC Comics is still in there. And dude, I can tell you, as being a small comic book shop with not a lot of things, indies outsell DC books here. I sell more independent titles than I do sell DC titles.
That is so crazy.
How can you guys not be making money? There's been a lot of things, in all of, DC, let me blow your mind.
Okay.
Because we're going to start talking about my favorite. We're going to talk about Jim Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Jim Lee has been just shaking and moving in all of these buyouts. They can Dan DiDio, but they keep Jim Lee in this hyperbaric chamber.
Yes.
They keep him safe. He kind of gets what he wants, it seems like.
Yeah.
But could he be on the block now?
Yeah.
Could Jim Lee be fired? Because it's not like he has amazing sales records or anything. They did beat out Marvel for like a 3-month period with the New 52, but
we saw how that went.
And
We saw that Frank Miller, Jim Lee thing. Saw how that went.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting thing because I think if you're DC, if you're Zaslav and whoever then going, if you're Zaslav, you got to keep Jim Lee there. I think in just a way to play keep away. You keep paying Jim Lee to be Jim Lee. And he still has
keep him away from Marvel
because if you fire Jim Lee,
Marvel is going to be like, here you go, you fill out the check.
Marvel sells 1 million copies of X-Men, whatever.
Oh my God!
All the variants.
It'd be insanity.
Or if I'm Marvel, I go make an all-in cash offer now for Jim because of the things like that.
Because
and then you do 2 years of Jim Lee making covers. That's it. That's all he does is he's making covers.
Oh.
You give him some creative director thing, you do that. And then at the end of 2 years, you guys because don't screw up Marvel Comics.
Right.
Let the people who are currently working on their stories
do what they're doing.
And then let's figure out how to work Jim Lee into it. And then we launch a major thing where we're all just thirsty. We're thirsty for issues of X-Men from Jim Lee.
Oh.
I mean, dude.
It would break some
it would have to. It would have to. If Jim, because this will blow your mind too. Jim's been with DC twice as long as he was ever with Marvel?
Easily. Freaking easily, dude. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think DC needs to, play some keep away because, I mean, has he ever stated, I hate Marvel, I would never go back?
No, not at all. He would totally go back. It's just...
Yeah, he's in a contract.
He's in a contract, but I mean, he's got influence, he's got money, he has a title.
Yeah.
He does not have to draw.
It's true.
I mean, he hasn't done interiors in 6 years.
Right.
His last book that he did interiors on was, I believe...
Was it the Frank Miller?
No, it was 8 to maybe 11 pages of Suicide Squad when they did the Rebirth storyline.
Okay. Dang, that was a minute ago.
He was doing half of the book, and then somebody else was doing the other half of the book. He was doing all the covers, but I mean, he only did 10 issues of that, maybe. He still does covers every now and again, but for the life of me, as much as I love him, I don't know what he does at DC. But it's smarter than anything else.
Yeah.
If you can't do anything right, keeping Hot Potato away from anything else, because I think Jim is, for such a creative guy, I don't know that he has a ton of imagination in the sense that some of these other creators might.
He's very much...
He's analytical.
There you go.
He is very, from having Korean upbringing, he's from what I know, I don't know the guy personally, obviously, but from what I know, from what I can gather, this is a guy who really calculates his moves.
Oh, big time.
Likes the safe play, and I mean, he's got a cushy deal. If they're willing, man, could you imagine if somebody was willing, like if we started to do so well as a comic book store, it would be really hard if somebody was willing just to buy me out to keep me from doing good. I mean, I would say no, but it would be hard to say no.
It'd be hard.
Because I love this.
You do. But and just write money down to say you can't do what you do.
It's tough.
It's very tough.
It's tough. And, if they're going to keep Jim in the capacity that he is, Jim Lee he's the only winner in all of this. In any of these buyouts, he's the only winner. He's either going to be fine or be in a position to make more money.
Oh, big time.
Nobody else in the biz is like
just
him.
Jim Lee.
It's so crazy to me.
It's because he is that thing that's just been kept away from Marvel for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm anybody at Marvel Publishing,
I would be like, we need to.
I'm backing up the truck.
Oh yeah.
They're not. It could hurt them in the short term, but it would only help them in the long term.
God, yeah.
They're already killing it in sales, but you put Jim on X-Men.
Yeah.
But it would be funny. I bet you he wouldn't want to do X-Men right away.
Probably not.
No,
he'd probably pick something not silly necessarily, but something we wouldn't expect.
Guardians.
Like Guardian. I can see him doing
new Guardians team.
Yeah.
But, this is how you lure Jim creatively. Says, hey, Feige and MCU, we're bringing the X-Men in. We need a comic book to go with. I mean, it seems like it's writing itself as far as I'm concerned.
Is.
All of the things could make a ton of sense to where Jim leaves DC, is part of the relaunch of an X-Men title that somewhat coincides with the MCU.
Oh, why not? Mic drop, boom.
Take the money.
Yeah.
I could sell. Listen to me, Marvel. I could sell that book. Everybody could sell that book. I could give Erik a stack of them to go to the mall, and he could sell them. Jim Lee. You guys know Jim Lee? Everybody knows Jim Lee.
Boom.
Dude, that'd be wild.
God.
That would be wild.
I can see this happening. Yeah. I can really see this happening, bro.
I mean, it could be a possibility. Obviously, we're just postulating here.
Sure.
What's more likely is DC keeps the trust. But see, the thing is, DC Comics is kind of the stepchild of the entertainment division.
Now
they really don't.
It's
Warner
so
Brothers
sad,
never really put the support behind them that maybe they should get.
Oh yeah,
not like Disney has.
No.
Not like Disney has. So they're not. They're all of this stuff that we see from the MCU. They're like, hey, like we want the comics to go with this in some way so that there's some crossover.
Oh, of course.
So
that's just good business. You want that Venn diagram of money crossover,
Rob Liefeld put it really well on his podcast where he was like, the Marvel way of making films is they find somebody that works with the ideas that they have planned.
Sure.
He's like, just look at Black Adam. Nobody is clamoring for a Black Adam movie. It's The Rock wants to make a Black Adam movie and he looks like Black Adam, so they're going to try to reverse engineer that to make it make sense.
Exactly.
And he's like, it's not going to work. Yeah. And I agree.
That's been their whole problem is the reverse engineering. We're going to start with the team fully formed.
Yes.
Which in a weird way, it could have worked. In a weird way. It just didn't execute it right.
Yeah.
I feel like, we can't do the Marvel thing and do 5-10 movies leading up to this big thing. We've got to throw them all out. I think their thought was everybody knows these characters, which is true.
Yeah.
We all know Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. We all know these characters really well. Don't really need to do a lot of origin stories on them, even though I think they did with Superman. And I did like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't executed well.
Yeah.
It would just makes me sad that DC has these. Look what, I'm going to kind of paraphrase Iron Man because Marvel did with C-list characters that DC couldn't do with their top tier characters. So it's like, DC's going, he's like, Kevin Feige made this franchise with scraps.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's Zaslav.
Yeah, Zaslav.
Yeah. It's like,
in a cave with scraps.
I'm sorry, I'm not Kevin Feige. Oh my God, dude, that is great. Oh man, it's but you're not wrong, Zaslav. Yeah, I mean, this is a DC is a company in which everybody. It's weird that you could outsell Batman with the Joker.
Yeah.
You could get close with Harley.
I'm going to say you could outsell Batman.
I think a few years ago.
Fair enough.
I think that candle has dimmed quite a bit.
Yep.
But Joker's still, comparable. Like, I mean, and we can just see that in a Joker movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. $1 billion.
Close to it. Close to it. Yes, we have Batman movies that have made $1 billion.
Sure, but that's a flagship character, but also not a villain.
Also had Joker in there too. So, and the other one was hoping for Joker-esque things. It's fun. It's fun to dream.
Sure.
My dream.
But some of this could come true.
If Jim Lee goes back to Marvel, it will be like I'll cry a little bit.
Sure.
I'll do it on the show, and I would love it. I miss Jim Lee Marvel art.
Oh, it's
when
so
he was
classic.
doing those fan pieces for the comic book stores during the pandemic, and people. I mean, so many things refer of X-Men and Batman.
Yep.
And there's so much more Batman art right now, I think, than there is X-Men art for Jim Lee.
God,
it's close, but there's definitely more.
Oh yeah. I mean, just what we're talking about here, it's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I think this could happen. There's a world where this happens.
I would love it. Yeah, like I said, either way, I think it's good for us. If Jim stays at DC, I'm fine with it. I just want more Jim Lee art. Like, that's all I want is more Jim Lee art. I got a Sweet Tooth Jim Lee variant the other day.
Yeah.
And I was so happy just because it was a piece of Jim Lee art that I didn't have. Mm-hmm.
Didn't you follow him around at Comic-Con? Weren't you stalking him?
Oh no, I did not. Friends of the show stalked the Liefelds.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
It's safely Liefelds. We actually have a weird relationship, and I don't want to think that you were ever in any danger.
No. I'm not implying that.
During Rob's what do you call it? Sketch hunt, where he was hiding sketches around there. A friend of mine was following who he thought might have been some family members,
sure,
and was right and got himself a sketch. So
hey, fair enough.
I don't recommend that though. It's not cool.
I don't think they do it anymore.
They don't. They don't. And I mean, they didn't do it the last like 2 cons maybe, and then we have been off for 2 cons.
Right.
But I could see Rob doing it this year. I think Rob Liefeld loves Comic Cons.
Yeah, he does.
And so I could see him doing it this year.
I'd like to meet him this year if he's there.
He's always been nice to me.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, Rob.
For DC Comics though, even though they can't seem to hit it in the weekly sales.
We want you to.
They are at least kings in the single sale. A record-breaking sale has occurred. The previous record holder for the highest-selling comic book was Amazing Fantasy 15,
which
is the first appearance of Spider-Man. And it sold for $3.6 million, I think, just about 2 years ago at the most. Very recently.
Decent scratch.
Before that, it was Detective Comics 27 at like 2-point-something billion. And then before that, it was Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman at like 1.8 billion, something like, 1.8 million. Excuse me. And Superman #1 graded in an 8.0. And I saw this book, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe this book is from 40 whatever.
Oh,
40,
is it nice, like crisp
dude, so brightly yellow. Ooh. Superman #1 sold for $5.3 million. That's insane. That's insane money for a comic book.
Yes. Graded though.
Graded. And it's I believe it's the highest graded book on the census from CGC.
Oh, yeah.
There are only 4 others higher than a 6.
Yes. Oh, so this, okay.
So that's why. So that's for your questions, kids.
Okay. It's not raw.
It's already rare.
Okay.
But it's rare in that type of condition.
Okay.
It looks like it looks great. It's bright yellow colors, white pages. I mean, it's amazing. I saw a 9.8. I think it was a 9.8 Justice Brave and the Bold 28 for appearance of the Justice League at Comic-Con one year. I believe it was a 9.8. It was really high grade. Dude, the person let me hold it, which I thought was ridiculous. But thank you.
They're nice about that.
They're pretty cool
John
about
from
from Torpedo.
Yeah, he let me hold the Amazing Fantasy. Yeah. And he walked off.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
I was like,
but if you steal from there, you deserve everything you get. Kids.
Oh yeah, don't
steal from comic book guys, man. Okay. It's not cool. If they're messing you up on prices, just don't buy from them.
Yeah, just don't buy.
But don't steal from these guys, man. It sucks. But yes, this book went for an insane amount. We've been getting new tops for many high pedigree books, and honestly, I think it's only going to go up.
Oh God, yeah.
But it'll have to be an Amazing Fantasy in the 8th grade to push the needle, man. I can't. But
that is insanity. Nicolas Cage. I hope it's not you. I wish you'd learned.
Obviously, we don't know who bought or who sold.
Private buyer, but it just leads me to a question for you. So you think raw books collecting is almost done? Do you think it's going to go exclusively, or is there still pockets for just raw books?
There's still there are guys who cannot believe that I grade books. I have customers who come in here. It's just like the people who like how I feel about people who open toys. I'm finding that I'm the weird one at my shop. Almost all of my customers open a decent amount of their toys. Wow. 60-70%.
See, that's weird to me.
They really only keep stuff like the super rare stuff. Right. But I'm selling amazing rare toys here at sealed prices, but it's fair.
Good. Yeah.
And these guys are opening them, guys. They're spending $100 on a toy and they're opening it because they need it for their spider diorama, which, hey,
that's
their own.
That's cool, but still, that's still crazy to me.
But, time is always going to add to these values. I mean,
yes.
If there's another 8.0 out there, honestly, I'd be shocked because you got to remember these pre-60s books.
They were used for fly swatters.
Fly swatters.
Trash.
There was a book burning in the late 50s, early 60s for comics.
What?
Yeah. And
so dumb.
Yeah, so like that's why some of these things that we call the golden age from pre-56, I think,
right.
The times are a little weird. I think it's pre-56. Yeah, pre-56 books, these golden age books, there are less of them because
all these circumstances.
All of these variables. So that's why a book can go for $5.3 freaking $3
because it's
million.
Basically a grail at
it
this
is.
point.
It is. I mean, it's a piece of art.
In history.
If I had that book right now, say I was the person that bought that.
Right.
If I were to decide to sell that when I was in my 60s, I mean, it's
at 10 million, 15 mil.
I mean, in our life, we're gonna see the double-digit million comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna see them.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, if this keeps going the way it's gonna go,
yeah.
But I feel like comic books never really lose their value. Comic books like that.
Yes, comic books like that. They
always will stay at their value.
Yes. Those are what we call blue chip comics.
Oh.
Yeah, we call them blue chip books because they'll always be. You know, some modern versions of that are Ultimate Fallout 4, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, these first appearances.
Gunslinger Spawn 1.
Yeah, oh God. No. But some of these high-level keys that have been rare and expensive without movies, those things are going to be blue chip books later. So when I'm older, I'm hoping that I've got 3 Ultimate Fallout 4s at CGC right now.
Ooh.
I think I could get 2 9/8s out of there.
I think you can.
And those are going to be, you'll be reading about my sale
on Whatnot.
On Whatnot, you know, for $10 million. All right. But kids, that's our show. It was nice to have some cool comic book related things to talk about. I know we tend to hover in the movies and shows, but man,
I like talking comics.
I do too. We need to get our boy here reading some more books in the store. You know?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we need to get back our recommendations.
I missed doing that.
Mrs. RAC, she loves the recommendation.
Oh, okay. Well,
the recommendation caboose or whatever we were calling it.
We'll figure out a cool name for it.
Kids, if you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Click the likes. Tell us what you think. Would you love if Jim Lee went back to Marvel? Should DC pay up to keep him?
What's that guy's name? Xanatos?
Yes. Zaslav.
Zaslav.
Yes. Zaslav.
Will he rule the world?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying. He's going to try to put together, like him and Kevin Feige are going to have to fight.
It's like that.
It's like a nether realm in the nether realm from Mortal Kombat. Yeah. It's like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth against Ben Affleck, Ezra Miller. They
got their wild card, man.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. He'll get you.
Wild card, baby.
Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
Keep watching the skis. Oh, skies.
Keep watching the skis and skies, kids. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
I am still Erik Icarus.
We'll catch you on the next podcast.